Welcome back to Gravity Rush. Time to race the clock.
Cool.
Now this ability I'm using, the game teaches you about a little bit later, is the gravity slide. Basically, it's just a faster way of moving on the ground.
Yeah.
But you become kind of unwieldy.
I was gonna say you look like you weren't in total control of your actions here, but then again, that's been the case since part one.
Yeah, the idea is that you're constantly moving forward very quickly, but you're very slippery.
Yeah.
Because what you're effectively doing is you're changing your gravity precisely while you're moving.
You know, part of the charm of the game is in the way that you always feel somewhat barely in control while you're using your gravity abilities, because you are essentially just manipulating the direction in which you fall. So.
Or the direction in which, for the gravity slide's case, just getting dragged along.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're basically turning any surface into a sliding sequence.
Yeah.
A Sonic Unleashed speed run.
Kinda, yeah.
A sliding sequence is in those kind of slide down a slanted surface things that action adventure games love so much now, like in Uncharted or Tomb Raider.
Oh no, those
Prince of
have been around for forever. There were a lot of
Yeah.
those kinds of things in like even the GameCube.
Yeah, but they were
kinda
mostly
era.
a platformer thing until
Yeah, that's
more
true.
recently. More recently, they became this really adventurous sort of scripted sequence where you'd slide through an obstacle course to get to where you're going.
Now, obviously, the things I've been doing lately from last part and the start of this part is side missions. They're just little. I highly recommend doing them because even if you're not doing terribly well, you're pretty much, as long as you're not like failing hard, you'll probably get the bronze, which gives you at least 100 of the gem things.
Can you
Yeah.
redo them to get a better rank?
Yeah, you can just do them as many times as you want.
Do you get the same reward every time you do them?
No. So if you get only bronze, you get 100. If you get only silver, you get if you get to silver, you then get those 200. If you get silver on the first try, then you get the 200 plus the 100.
Oh, okay. So it's not like
what
you
the
can
awards
do
are
it over and
cumulative.
over again.
Yeah, no, you can't just grind for 100, 100, 100, or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But
But
again,
you're given them the rewards for both tiers if you somehow score silver or gold
On the first
Yes.
try.
on your first try.
yeah. So as said with the upgrading system, it is in your interest to just go do them because they're not terribly hard to at least get the base level reward for them.
Yeah.
Compared
So
to
each
trying to
mission
fly.
offers about 600 gems.
Yeah. Also, we can silver the hedgehog up in this bitch.
You say that like it's a good thing.
Except this one actually works.
Hey,
good point.
hey, Silver the Hedgehog done well is something that would be really, really fun to play.
Yeah, like this. See,
Pretty much.
it actually works, and you can actually upgrade
Well-
how much you can upgrade how much you can carry, how much damage they do. You can actually upgrade them to where you can charge them and you can just fly at them and they'll keep hitting them.
The other thing, though, is that it also helps that Cat can do a lot of the things that Silver could do in cutscenes, like
Yeah.
fly.
Also,
Also,
you-
it looks
also
like
you-
just
well-
by throwing object throwing seems to have some sort of lock on.
Yeah, it does, and you can continue to do stuff while you're carrying boxes and crap. You're not limited to just this. So if there's an enemy nearby and you don't want to use the box on them, you can just kick them while holding the box.
Yeah, it's kind of like Devil May Cry 4, where you could hold the devil arm thing when you're holding an enemy up in front of you like a shield, and you can also hold the gun button to charge up a shot. You could do both of those things at the same time while you were fighting other things, assuming you had the right kind of button layout or could twist your finger into a pretzel. And if you were good at that, you could multitask like nothing else.
I mean, that's kind of how you got all the high scores in certain areas of that game.
Well, not necessarily, but it definitely helped you pull off some sick shit. Like,
Now, just a rule of thumb, while doing the throw mechanic, don't, super machine gun table attack it. They do have invincibility frames after the initial hit.
oh, so
You can do them, but you want to stagger it.
damn.
You want to stagger it just enough because, like, if you
mean-
press circle like right after the first one, it will absorb that one. But if it's like a split second after, you're fine.
What, the game's not jank? Oh.
Well, I mean, there probably is some jank. Like, I have to imagine.
Oh no, it does have some jank. It's not a perfect game, but
No, I'm not trying to say that to make fun of the game. I'm just saying that a game where you can basically fly whenever you want, there's got to be ways to get out of bounds. Like, it's almost
Oh,
certain.
there are. The game is very broken if you decide to actually go around and mess with it.
Yeah.
But when
Given
you're
the
but when,
structure of it, it kind of, I guess it's just an inevitability.
yeah, but when you're playing the game normally, I haven't really encountered any particularly bad. No, oh, I got stuck in the wall and I can't get out, or
Well, yeah, well, you know,
I-
those are the glitches that you really have to focus on fixing.
Yeah, it's not
But-
really a big deal if like something weird happens and you're like, oh man, this game's like that's a thing that kind of annoys me when you watch speedrunning events. Like, oh, this game's programming so bad. You see, I rubbed against this wall for 6 hours and that lets me skip to the final. Okay, that's because you were trying to rub against. You were looking for crap to break. There, man.
No, I think the biggest twist of this playthrough is that at the end, Ryan will tell us that the whole gravity thing was not intended. That
Wow.
the entire game is actually really broken.
yeah. See, I got silver and bronze, and I got 300 instead.
Well, I wouldn't be
Just
surprised.
200.
It wouldn't be the first time that that a cool gameplay mechanic came from a glitch, like Devil
Combo
May Cry
system.
again. The
Street-
juggling was a
Street
glitch in
Fighter's combo.
Onimusha.
Yeah, Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter.
Street
Combo
Fighter's
system, yeah.
combo, yeah, that's the most famous one, I suppose. Where comboing wasn't meant to be a mechanic, but it was a thing that happened, and they made a game out of it.
Man, Street Fighter 2's development, if you ever look it up, it was wild. Okay, because Yoko
They basically
Shimomura
had
did the
no idea
music
what
for
they're
that,
doing.
and she straight up lied about having experience when she got hired to do that job. She didn't know anything about composing. She's like, yeah, I could probably do that, sure.
And we got and then the rest is history. We got Guile's theme.
Yeah, and then
Well,
she
she-
just
see,
accidentally
here's
made
the
one of the most
thing.
recognizable game soundtracks of all time.
Here's the thing: she was a time traveler. She knew the pain of being a millennial and didn't want to experience it again.
So yeah, I have no idea what was going on in Capcom at that time, but they, they lucked out, I guess. Is the
I mean,
best way
to
put
be
it.
fair, that's a lot of gaming around that time period from the 80s and early
A lot
90s.
of
You
the
just kind of
most
get lucky.
A lot of the most iconic and impactful stuff in pop culture in general, not just gaming, comes from wild experimentation. Random chance. It's usually around the time when things start to stagnate that you see a lot of the franchisization going on, and that's gotten to be a stronger force in the industries over the last couple decades. So
Ninja Turtles, come out!
I must be in one of those fandangled warp zones.
anyway, I don't know why, but she finds this sewer pipe and says, "Hey, not bad." So she
She makes her house here.
Yeah, she makes
Yeah,
her home
it's
here.
like-
Basically, she's a
Oh, it only
homeless-
smells slightly like shit. Nice.
She's a homeless squatter who squats in a sewer pipe. Although it is sort of a homie sewer pipe, you know. She's an optimistic hobo.
I hope it's not running. Oh shit! There's already somebody in here.
Hey man, I found it first. All right, get your own pipe.
That was a distress call.
Is Dusty's eyes like nebulas?
Yeah. It's a galaxy cat.
Yeah, I know the texture of the cat is very
Yeah,
starry.
it has
but-
weird red swirly eye things.
So is the cat what gives us our powers, or do we just
Yes,
have
actually.
one?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay,
Actually.
so sometimes the goal markers can be a bit difficult to find.
But yeah, the cat is technically what's giving us the power.
Oh, okay.
This ultimately doesn't result in much because even in the second game they don't explain how the hell that works.
Well, you know, it's not like every little thing about a fantasy world needs to be explained. There just needs to be enough cohesion for it to click with the audience.
Yeah, unfortunately, Gravity Rush 1 and 2 kind of just keep compounding their questions on top of each other and not satisfactorily explaining a lot of things.
Yeah, we kind of just have to hope for a Gravity Rush 3 now.
This strikes me as one of those games though where the cat actually doesn't do anything and the power is in her the entire time.
No, the cat actually is doing it.
Well, I'm just saying because you guys said it's not really explained a whole lot. I wouldn't be surprised like in a future game if it were to ever to happen they would say that she's actually.
Yeah,
doing it.
unfortunately, I doubt there's ever going to be a Gravity Rush 3.
Did these games
Wow.
not do very well?
Well, the first one was on the Vita, so that should tell you that
Okay,
much.
good point. Well made.
Wow, I have a chair now. Wait, okay, she's going around collecting discarded furniture from people's garbage piles, which is relatable for me because like the first television I ever owned was this television that someone just threw out at their curb, and I found it at the curb, and my dad was like, "That they threw that out. It's not going to work." It totally worked, and it worked for years. I was right. It was this heavy thing, though. I had to carry it with my brother around the block. This was back in the day when we were all doing we all had these big ass CRTs, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a big old CRT, so that means it weighs like 20 times more than
It weighs like 5,000.
Yeah,
It weighs
so
5 tons.
we had to team lift that thing around the block to get it back to get it back home. But it was worth it because that was the first TV I ever owned, and it was fucking free.
Hey, can't beat the price.
I think it was
One
like
man's trash is another
I think it
person's
was like a
treasure,
good
they
5
say.
or 6 years before it started showing like burn-in in one of the corners.
Yeah. Once it started going on fire, then I was a little concerned.
No, burn-in by which I mean like
The screen.
The screen
Yeah.
starts
I
to
know. I just like to literally take it as no, it actually caught on fire.
Yeah.
Lewis,
I
the
think-
TV is on fire.
I think it was that same TV that I played Resident Evil 4 on, and oh my god, Resident Evil 4 looks fucking fantastic on a CRT.
a lot of games on the GameCube, PS2 look a lot better on CRT because they're designed with those in mind.
Yeah, it
you
like
can't,
smooths over the whatever they're
the,
called.
a lot of the textures and
Yeah,
crap.
The jaggies.
it's cool to have Resident Evil 4, the HD remaster, but on a CRT you can't see the graphic shortcomings, so it straight up looks photorealistic, you know? It's like it's kind of like watching old movies with CGI in them on a CRT, like Jurassic Park and Terminator 2, that kind of thing, where the CRT
Yeah, but Mortal Kombat
disguises
animation
some
still
of
looks
the-
awful.
Yeah. Well, the CRT kind of disguises some of the rough edges of the CGI. So, like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, for instance, you can't necessarily tell quite so easily that they're CGI.
I
That's
thought
why
that
the
they
T-
used
that's why
a
the-
lot
that-
of puppets and stuff for the.
Well, they
dinosaurs.
did, but that's functionally why the T-Rex chase scene on the Jeep is at night.
Oh, okay.
So
because they.
you can't see it very well.
Yeah, and basically with CRTs,
Yeah.
it does better to hide like composition effects as
So,
well.
like when you get to Jurassic World, even though the CGI is technically worlds better with like much better anatomical animation and whatnot, like it's so much easier to tell that it's CGI that everyone
Yeah.
thinks the effects are worse. That's what I hear
It's
everywhere.
a really odd example. Bear with me, but there's one scene at the end of Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where Louis blows up the antifreeze, or the chemical underneath the sewer line, which causes the Santa sleigh to blow up.
I've
and
never
fly
seen this,
across the
so
moon.
this sounds. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he blows up the decoration, and the Santa flies in through the roof.
Through the roof. When you're watching it on a HD TV, you can clearly see that the effect is composited because you can see like the square mat moving along with the sleigh.
Yeah.
But you can't really see that on a CRT, which is is probably a benefit of watching it on an old TV.
Yeah.
Oh, that cousin Eddie.
I've never seen Christmas Vacation or Regular Vacation at all. So.
That's a discussion for another time, but you should watch Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that a sequel or to the?
Yes.
Okay.
The original is just
Yeah, but-
National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah.
Should I watch
That's
that?
what-
You
too?
don't need
Yeah.
to watch You don't need to watch Vacation. Watch Christmas Vacation.
You don't need to, but
No.
they're both good movies. So
I think we own it actually, so I don't really have any excuse.
I would hope you do. It's a classic. I'd
Well,
rather
here's
watch
the
that
thing:
than fucking
I
Christmas
don't own a
Story.
lot of movies that are like, because most of the movies that I watched growing up, it's just okay. Did my parents have them? Because I wasn't ever really buying movies for myself because I didn't have an allowance. So it's like stuff like Indiana Jones. I never watched Indiana Jones until I was like 14 when the Crystal Skull came out. The only reason why I watched Indiana Jones before Crystal Skull came out was because it was some like TBS or something was having marathons of all of the Indiana Jones movies in like celebration of Crystal Skull, and I watched all three in a marathon viewing session right before the night I went to see Crystal Skull in theaters. And coincidentally, I think that all four Indiana Jones movies are roughly the same quality. So, you know.
Well, you know, I didn't hate Crystal Skull as much as other people did.
I think
I'll
that
say
movie's.
that.
I mean, it's dumb, but I kind of think all four movies are dumb. So.
Well, Indiana Jones was always dumb. It was kind of a new sort of dumb at the time, so I think a lot of it is that the novelty is worn off. The other thing, though, is that, well,
There's a lot more ridiculousness in Crystal Skull compared to
Okay,
like,
I
like the
still
most
think
the mine cart in like Temple of Doom is pretty ridiculous, but a lot of the stuff is still somewhat down to earth.
Excuse me, in Temple of Doom, they jump out of a helicopter with a freaking lifeboat and then slide down a mountain
and that's part of the reason why Temple of Doom is most people's least favorite of the three.
I'm gonna pull a different example out to illustrate this. Die Hard.
I've never watched any of the Die Hards either.
Well,
again, we didn't own them.
It's kind of like the movies get progressively weirder, progressively.
You mean wackier?
Have to keep upping the ante.
Part of the thing, but part of what made Die Hard 1 work so well was that it was actually based on a really goddamn serious goddamn book.
If you want to know something funny about that, it's technically a sequel to film
Frank Sinatra.
A Frank Sinatra
thing.
So by contractual obligations, that even though he was like in his later 60s at the point or something like that, he still had to be offered the part.
That's not as weird as you think. Joe Leland, the protagonist of the books, was around that age in the book Die Hard was based on. So he would have been just the right age.
Imagine Die Hard with Frank Sinatra.
I'd watch that movie. Let's be honest here. I love Frank Sinatra.
We're sort of getting off track. My point was, Die Hard was based on a really serious goddamn movie, and because of that, it had a lot of balancing elements that allowed it to be ridiculous action while still retaining just enough seriousness that you could take the weird stuff seriously, and it kind of evens itself out and becomes credible. You can't really say as much for the later movies, especially 3, 4, 5, 2.
Are they making another one somewhat soon too?
I wouldn't be surprised considering.
Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of the Rock movie that's coming out like this week. That's basically which is basically Schmard. So yeah. Wait, hold the phone. Is this place really is called Hexville?
Yeah.
Heck.
Well, they had to censor it for the kids. It's called Hellsville everywhere else.
What I was trying to say with that illustration, which really got distracted, was that the earlier Indiana Jones movies had enough of that kind of counterbalance to them that it wasn't quite as
1 and 3, I will agree with you there. Not really.
Temple of Doom kind of is the black sheep of the original trilogy because it was like way depressing.
It was way depressing and way weird.
It was it was really depressing at points, but had really awful comic relief with the lady and
short round.
You see, I watched the Goonies is my favorite movie of all time, so I think of that actor as Data from the Goonies before I think of it
let me just put it this way. There's a reason that the third movie dropped a lot of what the second movie did. So, I mean, it kind of does have enough balance in its tone to sort of work as an adventure movie, but I wouldn't call it as good as the first or the third.
Oh no, I crap on it a little bit, but I enjoy Temple and Doom. It's just
I enjoy it too. It's just I'm not as invested in it as I was in Last Crusade or Lost Ark.
Yeah.
And Crystal Skull tried to connect itself to those movies through like the returning characters and the whole Russians doing what the Nazis used to be doing, but it kind of only halfway achieved it.
We did luck out, though, that nobody really liked that movie, because if it had done well, we might have gotten a sequel where Shia LaBeouf was supposed to be the new Indy. And that would have been...
Well, Indy 5 is still in production.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody really wants it. So...
No.
Yeah.
It got pushed a year, actually.
Yeah, that was
with
recent,
that said,
wasn't
we'll
it?
see you guys next time for part 4 of the Gravity Rush commentary.
Oh, please. You've been here for 10 years, John, and you're acting
almost
like
10,
us
almost
acting...
10. Almost 10. Almost
rounding
10.
up.
Not 10 yet.
Well, you could say that our commentary is going up, down, and all around, just like this game.
Side boob.
What?